Let's talk about the Afghans. How are we doing in terms of numbers? How many are there still in hotels as we speak?
We are almost at a place where we're looking at emptying these hotels within the next 2 weeks. So the deadline is the 31st of August. We're getting about 400 people a week into settled accommodation across the United Kingdom. And yeah, I mean, it has been a huge success. Local authorities have worked incredibly hard. We set up this Afghan task force with voices from the Afghan community and other advisors of mine who, to be frank, are working night and day throughout August to make sure that these hotels are empty correctly and nobody ends up sleeping on the street, and nobody has and nobody will. And actually, it's a policy that I think we can be proud of. We can be proud of how we're integrating this cohort into British society today.
Really difficult times in this country, as we know, generally for housing issues. Yeah. Rent and so forth is very high for ordinary people. So that really makes it even harder to have achieved this, doesn't it? How have you balanced those competing factors?
So it's exactly as you say, it is all a balance, right? So we've opened up kind of pockets of housing that have not been opened up before. For example, service family accommodation that's not being used at the moment. And actually the Ministry of Defence, or DIO, acting as a kind of landlord and taking on Afghans in that respect. We've also designed schemes to open up more of the private rented sector by increasing housing allowance and things like that to enable Afghans to get into the private sector, so that the social housing that we all know is a huge challenge in communities across our country, is not adversely affected by this.
Let's talk a little bit about the ARAP scheme and where that's going. Again, it's coming for criticism. There's been concerns from regulatory bodies about the way it's organised. Are you going to pick up on those concerns and adjust
Well,
those?
look, my remit at the moment is very clear, and that was to get Afghans and their families out of hotels and into settled accommodation across the United Kingdom. Of course, I'm not deaf to these concerns, right? And, it's a matter of public record that I wanted these schemes to be different from what they actually were. And I had concerns previously about how many were actually coming into the country before the collapse of Afghanistan. The truth is, we are where we are now, right? Yeah. And of course, as everybody knows, we have a build-up of personnel in Pakistan, and we also have people in Afghanistan that we would like to see in the United Kingdom. We couldn't make any progress down that track whilst we had all these people in hotels. So my job was to get them out of hotels. I would like to see, as I've said in the House of Commons, a really clear professional pathway for those who are in danger in Afghanistan that we owe a duty to come into settled accommodation in the UK, not into hotels, but into settled accommodation. That remains my ambition, and I'll look for ways to achieve that once I've completed this task.
I think non-military people don't quite understand the strength of feeling there's been in the military community about this, about these people that did help us. You know, I've worked with Afghan interpreters when I was in Afghanistan. You trust them immensely, you rely on them strongly, and there was a sense of shame, I felt, in the fact that these people were not helped sooner. That's changed, though, because we've got there in the end, but it is that military ethos, isn't it, that's driven
I think
this.
so. I think it's, because it's not theory for us, right? We actually lived it, and we actually saw the commitment these people made to kind of cross that threshold and come and work with Western forces and try and bring democracy and peace to Afghanistan. And, you've seen it in films and books, and lots of veterans have talked about it. But there is that enduring pull that you want to see through your duty to these people. And it's quite inspiring in a way, because it's quite hard arguing for migrants in this country at the moment, right? But actually, if you sit down and you really articulate what we owe these people, there is no problem. There is, people want to see people like that who have literally saved lives, British lives in Afghanistan, resettled into the United Kingdom. It's about how you do it, and it's about bringing the public and bringing, all parts of government with you. And I think we've been successful in that. But it doesn't kind of end here, right? We've still got a job of work to make sure that these people are fully integrated into UK society.
Thanks for watching. For more from Forces News, like and subscribe to our channel.